Okay, let me, why am I going on apps? Okay, wonderful. Okay. Hello, hello.
Yeah, I'm just putting in the description for Facebook, and then I'm gonna start the Instagram.
Think, uh,
Okay, and now we are live on Facebook. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Hello, beautiful Thursday, beautiful Thursday. Thank you for joining this week's Transformation Thursday, week 172. Thank you very much for joining. This evening, we have the pleasure of hearing from Miss Sandra of Modern Blessings. And I met Miss Sandra, um, I think it was, what was it, the end of November in New Rochelle at the New Rochelle Holiday Market by the New Rochelle Metro North Station. And I remember walking by her booth saying, no, no more. No, I don't need anything else. And I think I walked back again, and by the third time I knew, yeah, I was just like kidding myself. So today's
yes.
discussion today's discussion is balancing mind, body, and spirit. So I know that's a topic that we're always looking to be balanced because sometimes we can feel like we're all over the place or we need to be grounded. So, Miss Sandra, please tell us how we can be balanced.
Yes. So first, let me just start by introducing myself, and thank you so much for having me today. It's a pleasure to be here and to speak on what it is that I do and speaking on mind, body, and spirit. So a little bit about me. In my bio was in the introduction when you posted it, but just a little bit about me. My name is Sandra Marquez, and I am the owner and creator of Modern Blessings, which is a beautiful business that I created around being of service, energy healing services, metaphysical and spiritual tools and products. And I also offer different types of services like coaching and retreats and crystals and crystal art and all of those lovely things. How did I get into this business? I got into this business because I am a lover of all things high vibrational and healing, and crystals were something that I really gravitated towards. And so I love to share that with everyone, and I use that in my healing as well. So what else can I say here? So let's jump right in about the balancing of mind, body, and spirit, right? So a lot of people can kind of view balance, right, differently, right? Balance can mean many different things to many different people. And so it's important to understand that, sorry, one second. It's important to understand that although we can have all these things happening at once in our lives, right? It's so important to really view the foundational aspects of our lives, right? How do we get balance? Balance, in terms of the definition, is an even distribution of weight, enabling someone or something to remain upright and steady. So when we're looking to create balance, we are flowing with the energy of stability, steadiness, and equilibrium, right? So I look at imbalance as a heavy weight, right? So I know that when things in my life are out of balance, I tend to feel heavy, or that situation, the task, or the relationship will feel heavy. That will tell me to reset or shift what I'm doing, right? So very important to understand that. When we are looking to create balance, we are flowing with the energy of stability, steadiness, and equilibrium. How do we do this, right? By creating a balanced foundation. For me, for me, that's maintaining a flow of like rituals, habits that support me daily, or when needed for me to have a really strong foundation. So, for example, each morning I wake, I take an intentional breath of gratitude before I get out of bed, right? Once I get settled, I'll get like a beverage. I'll pull a card for the day. I'll journal my insights. It keeps me very balanced for the day. So same goes for the end of the day. How do we wind down? Shower meditations, a great way to get back into our bodies and cleanse any density. Right? Very important to understand that when we're living in the everyday, right? And um, this density all around us, it's important, right? Because we accumulate that throughout the day. So prayer is another beautiful and uplifting vibrational method to a steady and balanced foundation. Whatever you choose, right? It's important to pick things that center you and bring you to a 0 point. What do I mean by 0 point? Our center, our heart, our love, right? That's what brings us all back. That's what helps us to be present and in the moment. So look at where you're requiring balance, right? Like it's just when we really get centered, and we start eliminating the noise around us, we can get clearer on the things that are our priorities, are important, that hold substance. And that's why it's so important to be intentional with the things that we do. That is how we create more balance in our lives. Um, you know, one of the things that I tell a lot of my clients to do is, look at where you are requiring balance, right? Close your eyes, take a centering intentional breath, right? Even if you do that right now, if you're going to close your eyes right now and you take a centering breath, you can just do a quick scan of your body right now and ask, where in my body am I requiring balance? And allow yourself to feel that. Very important that when we get into this balancing mindset, this centering mindset, this is how we're listening to our bodies, how we're listening to the things around us, how we're feeling, what we're thinking. All of these things are going to play a part. So what is the first thing that comes to you when you do that, right? Like if I'm going to be doing that right now, I can just, okay, what am I feeling? What is off balance? And when we are really taking note of all of these things that are happening around us, eliminating the things that don't feel good to us, and feeding the things within us that are centering us, that are loving us, that are just feeding our spirit with goodness, with joy, with happiness, following our goals, following our dreams, instead of feeding into negative mindsets, limiting beliefs, any self-imposed limitations by way of ourselves or others around us, right? So same, like I was just saying, same goes for your mind and spirit. Check in, right? Um, we're all beautifully and divinely connected, and understanding is the key to creating a an outer standing by virtue of balancing the mind, body, and spirit. So life gets into a state of greater flow and less stagnation. Um, for me, some tools that I use are crystals. Crystals are extremely grounding, but a lot of people ask me, oh, which crystal is good for this or which crystal is good for that? And I always say, take a look, see what you resonate with. Not every meaning in crystal books is going to be straight up for you. So, yes, there's, common crystals like smoky quartz that are extremely grounding, or black tourmaline. Those are all lovely to be grounding and centering. But again, pay attention to you. The whole point to balancing our mind, body, and spirit is to paying attention to what is in here. And so, my main goal from when I'm doing any form of service or I'm working with anyone is to get them in touch with their inner being, right? With their divinity, and understanding that they get to make these choices, they get to empower themselves. And by doing that, we're creating more of a balance, right? We're creating this beautiful, what I'm envisioning right now is just the scales, right? When we see a scale, and life can't always be this even and balanced all the time, right? Because we have our everyday reality happening, right? We have all these different things that are kind of like spinning and out of our control, different energies. That's what we're here for, the human experience. And so tapping into that, within, we don't get so off balance. Of course, we're always going to be kind of going like this, but when things are kind of like this or like this, they tend to really throw us off kilter. So, for me, prayer is a really big thing, and intention. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that this fortifies our life force, the energy around us, and helps manifest, gives power to manifestation. So, this is how I create a balance within my mind, body, and spirit. And when I am constantly feeding these things on a daily basis, um, these things create my a more of a stability in my outer reality. And so it's very important to tune into that on a regular basis. Do I sometimes, get off track? Absolutely. Because life is going to do that, right? But getting back into it and always creating this, building this foundation with all these things, with this ritual, with these good habits that are feeding my positivity, that are feeding the love within me, all of these things, they're going to set the tone for me that no matter how much I stray off my, rituals or habits or whatnot, it's always going to be something steady for me to stand upon, right? So that's extremely important. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna get something to drink. So yeah, one of the things growing up for me, I didn't always have a very balanced and structured childhood. And so um, I think that for me, learning to create these things for myself was a hard task. And so I think that as we move through life, it's important to build on these things. Not everyone has the liberty or the I don't know what term is coming out of my head, to have all of these things laid out for us. And so we learn as we get older, we correct the things that maybe our parents couldn't provide for us. And in our adulthood, it's our responsibility to create the lives that we want, right? So yeah, it's all about creating this beautiful foundation that no matter what comes in to shake you, to throw you off, you know that your center is solid and your foundation is solid. So these things can't throw you off. So that is what I mean when I say balance. And taking care of our bodies is so important. I can say that I don't have the best of diets, but I do pay attention to what I'm consuming, how often I'm consuming it, and I'm placing intention when I'm eating. I also try to not cook food for my family when I am upset or not in the right frame of mind. I always make sure I clear myself, get myself centered, and I'm breathing in these positive thoughts and intentions into my food. Same thing when I get food outside of my home. I'm praying over my food. I'm placing intentions on my food because that's going into my body, right? And that's going to, if that food is being handled properly by someone, that's coming into me. So I need to make sure that everything is about intention. And breathing that into my food, into the things that I do, even the people around me, right? Like I pray over the people in my life regularly, as well as myself and my family. And I think that's also very important, right? Filling yourself with this sense of gratitude with all these lovely people that are in our lives, because they're in our lives for a reason, no matter what it is, they are there for a reason. So I pray over them. All of these things are creating this balance within me. And I am a firm believer that the more that that we pray, that we place intention, that we're intentional with all of these things, um, that are meaningful, this is going to create a beautiful outer reality, an unshakable outer reality. And so I would say a more unshakable inner reality, right? So that no matter what happens on the outside, we're steady. Like it can't throw us off, right? Mm. Oh my goodness, I am so thirsty, thirsty, thirsty. Mm. So yes, I think I have touched on most of what I wanted to bring up. Let me just check my notes very quickly.
No, you have time. We're here for all of it. We're here for everything you have to say.
Okay, wonderful. I also wanted to touch on, the healing work, modalities and things like that, especially for balancing the mind, body, and spirit. I think that's also very important. I think that energy work is a beautiful, beautiful gift that is available to many, however which way they can get it, either learning it themselves. I think everyone should learn some form of energy healing for themselves. Um, and if you have it available to you to get energy healing, I think that that is something that really supports people, mind, body, and spirit. There are there are some things sometimes with patterns and cycles that I see a lot, that can cause major imbalance in the body and cause dis-ease, right? And so it's important to um, just treat yourself to freeing up that energy so that you can have other things start to come in. I always say it, I always think of it as real estate, right? We have this spiritual, physical and mental real estate. And, you know, we get to pick and choose what we accumulate over time, what's going to stay there, what's going to move out. And over time, you know, sometimes things build up. Sometimes we, you know, we take on baggage and garbage that we don't need to take on in our minds, in our bodies, and within our spirit. And it's important. Our spirit does not want to be buckled down. It does not want to be heavy. It does not want to be shackled. We want to be free, right? We want to understand. And the thing is that we are all free. We are all absolutely free. A lot of the things that binds us and keeps us stagnant, it's our own things, our things either handed down to us from, you know, family members, ancestral things that are kind of weighing heavy on us for us to repair and move from and grow from. But a lot of the things are our own limiting beliefs, things that we come here that we're contracted to heal and move on from and grow from. I mean, we could just take a look at the top 3 things that you're scared of, and you can like literally just be like, okay, I know exactly what it is that I have to do, but sometimes we get stuck. And so energy healing, I find, can be such a beautiful tool to really set us free from, you know, feeling like we don't have control or that we can't get over something. And I'm I am also the firm believer that we are not on this world to do everything alone. We are here to connect. We are here to help one another because we are all truly connected. I don't care where you're from, who you are, how rich or how poor, whatever it is, we are all connected and vibrating to help and assist one another on some level. Now, not to say that everyone is going to be vibrating, right, or on the same path, but you know, and this is why it's important to balance the mind, body, and spirit, right? So that you can have those right people connecting to you to get to wherever you need to get to. And another thing that it comes up when it comes to healing is illusion and thinking that, oh my goodness, why is this happening to me again? Or, you know, why does this one thing, like every time I try to get to this level, why is this one thing still happening? Why do I have bad luck? And, you know, one of the things that I've learned is that it's not bad luck. It is there stopping you in that moment for you to address it so that you don't have to keep on doing it over and over again. You're missing something. And this is why it's important, why I think energy healing is so important when it comes in, because it frees up some of those energetic blocks. And it gives you sometimes for a long amount of time, it gives you a sense of clarity so that you can see the things that you need to see to move past them, to have a greater understanding of them. Because sometimes with limiting beliefs and when we have stagnant energy within our bodies, it actually it almost places a fog over you where you can't identify why it is that these things are happening. And so the beauty of energy healing, and I feel that, you know, energy healing really assisted me too on my journey to just help free things up in my body, help just shift my perspective, and freed it up enough to where I could make different choices and see the possibilities around me. When we carry density in our bodies, it limits us, it makes us small. And so when we free up, and this is why when you feed your mind, body, and spirit, you are making room. for your blessings. You are making within your body to experience things. We are not built to hold on to anything. We are built to experience and move with flow. That the energy is always flowing. We just get to decide what type of energy we want to flow with. But we're not here to hold on to anything. And so when we center and we balance, we allow for that flow. We allow for a different perspective. We allow for possibilities to occur. Um, uh, and you just allow for a greater understanding of love, a greater understanding of love, of kindness, of happiness, being able to see it within you and around you. And that truly does balance us and helps us tremendously. So yes,
Would
yes,
you
yes.
touch on how things get trapped in the body?
Yes, I believe that energy gets trapped in the body. One, because of trauma. Um, Trauma definitely is something to kind of trap energy within the body. Sometimes, it can be from childhood. We'll have an event that occurs that um, it can be extremely traumatic. And trauma, again, that's one of those things is very different to everyone, different walks of life. Everyone experiences trauma on different levels and different degrees of it. But at the end of the day, trauma is trauma. And when trauma gets stuck in the body, it can cause all sorts of things to go out of whack, again, with how you see things, your clarity, your sense of purpose. It creates blocks. Another thing that creates blocks is sometimes when something is said to you from a very young age, or even now sometimes, a parent will say something, or someone during childhood, and it sticks with you. It created your emotions towards it. It's almost as if you weren't able to process it in that moment and you held on to it. And so when we have that response, it's almost as if you're still in that time and space and you haven't let go of it, and you've held on to that time and space and brought it into this reality, and you're reliving it. And this is why energy healing isn't a one size fits all, because some people, what I've noticed is that what some people will come in and go, okay, yes, I'm going to get energy healing, and that's it. My work is done. But your work isn't done, because at the end of the day, energy healing is only happening because you're allowing it, right? You're actually doing the work. I always say this: I am a facilitator, I am there holding space, but at the end of the day, it's you, within you, you're whether conscious or subconscious, you are allowing this to occur. And so when you convince yourself that, okay, that's it, that's all I have to do, one size fits all. It's like when people go to the doctor and they get a pill for something, and it's like, okay, well, your doctor told you had to correct your diet. You had to do this or you had to do that. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'll just take the pill and I'll be done with it. No, there's follow up. Yes, we're giving you time and space in that moment to process things, to free things up, and to give you a sense of clarity and move energy around. But you can just as easily call that energy right back in with a certain type of mindset. So if you're not ready to put in the work of addressing your limiting beliefs, of addressing, this, issues with your mindset, or knowing that there is a cycle that is occurring that you're not addressing, those things are going to reoccur. It's just like people who want to be millionaires, but they think it's just going to fall in their lap. It doesn't happen that way. You have to dedicate the time to you, right? If you love yourself and you care for yourself, you have to put in the work. And it doesn't have to be this treacherous, tug and pull. But you do have to dedicate time to yourself. You have to make space for you. And this is why centering, all of these things are bringing you back. It's so important to understand that. It's about calling yourself back to you. Some of us are walking around so fragmented in so many places at once, so many thoughts at once, so far into the past or into the future. How can you possibly, you know, create any type of cohesion and healing around what you want when you're, in the trauma from, 2014? You know what I mean? You have to dedicate the time and say, you know what, I'm going to do this. Healing isn't a one size fits all thing. You have to go through it. You have to go through the process. Um, you have to dedicate the time. Energy healing is for everyone. It's just that you have to be able to say, okay, I'm going to do more than just this. This is going to assist me. There's tools, just like anything else, just like even the water that you drink, you can use as a tool. But I can't just pour the water on myself and say, that's it, I'm going to be done. I don't have to do anything else. You have to care. You have to want to do the work. And, it doesn't have to be 24/7, but you have to have the mindset to say, yes, I love myself and I'm going to do the work. I'm going to care enough to do this. And it will happen. It will happen. This is how we manifest. If we start correcting, the things in here, forgiving, letting go, and be mindful about being present and caring for ourselves, all the rest follows. It's almost as if it just like ducks in a row. All of it just aligns. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for alignment in our body, in our minds. I'm
Okay,
so thirsty.
no, it's fine. It's fine. You're just dropping so much powerful information. And I love what you said about energy healing is kind of like just the start, because sometimes I feel like, you get energy healing, there needs to be like a warning label, like letting you know this is, kind of like the start, this is just one level, like, yeah, you're peeling one level, but there's more. Like one session is not going to clear everything.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. For some people, I've had some clients just from one session be like, oh my goodness, this is like life changing, but it still continues after that, just like shadow work, I'm constantly doing work, constantly. I don't think I've ever met anyone, any healer, anything, and I would run the other way if someone says, I've done all the work that I need to do. I have no other work to do. There's always something coming up because in this reality, right? The reality is that we're being exposed to so many different things on a regular basis. So there's always going to be things coming up, right? Like we heal one thing and there's, like you said, there's layers to it. And sometimes we're like, okay, yeah, I thought I dealt with that. Like I really got that out of my system. And then something else comes up to either test you or, reveal another layer. And you just have to go with the flow of that. And here's the thing about doing the work. The more and more you do it, um, you become less unshakable. You just look at it, you go, you have a greater sense of awareness and you're at peace and you understand it's not there to hurt you, and you can go through the different levels of emotions without it rattling you to the core, if that makes sense. So this is why we do this work, so that we can continue to help others, right? I can only help people from where I've been, and so I've dealt with a lot of trauma. I've dealt with really, some would say excruciating circumstances. And so I've walked through certain levels of pain. And so I do have some level of understanding on how to move through pain, how to move through trauma, how to move through forgiveness, even when it's super heavy. I mean, I've met some people where they have such a hard time forgiving because, some people hold on to things. And there's no reason for us to have anything in our bodies that is less than love because it's not doing you any good. Why am I going to hold on to anything less than love? I
Okay.
may come across people that it may not necessarily be my cup of tea or I resonate with, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to send them love or blessings. I
Can I
can
ask you to
go
say
another
that
way.
again? Because that's post-worthy. What? Anything less than love? What was that?
Oh, I was saying that anything less than love is not worthy of being in my body, right? It's just not. Anything less than love is not worthy to be in your body or take up space in your body. It's just why?
Okay, no, I'm posting that. Thank you.
hmm I mean, if we really think about it, it should be on post-it notes, it should be on t-shirts, it should be on billboards, like we don't need any of that. But we experience these things to help us grow. I always look at it as, all right, if you're experiencing fear, if you're experiencing hate, if you're experiencing uncomfortability, ask it what's trying to teach you. Ask, because a lot of the time it's there to assist you, not for you to run the other way, but to say, okay, there's something here. I'm feeling resistance. How can I help myself to create more of balance within this situation, within this feeling? This is how we grow. I always say, ask yourself the questions because you will answer them. And I used to really get frustrated when you see a lot of this, where you hear and you see people say, "Oh, like if you seek, you'll find the answer," and it's just like, it's so vague, but it is true. You have all the answers within you, and yes, we do need support. We need assistance. It is okay to reach out and get a helping hand and to form realizations by way of what other people teach. Um, I'm sure you've, shared so much knowledge with other people and collected the same from others and learned and have grown from that. And this is how we help one another. But yes, like it's just so important because there's too many people walking around with too many other things in their bodies that don't need to be there, and these things, it is what these very things are what cause hatred in the world, or what cause wars, or what cause people to do really nasty things to other people. And um we don't need to be adding to any of that. There's enough of chaos in the world. And I would like to contribute, love, understanding, passion, grace, forgiveness, rather than, ugliness. And yes, ugliness is part of who we are. We are made of both light and dark, and it is important to embrace the ugliness within, because we all have it. We do not need to be ashamed of any form of ugliness because it is actually beauty within. But the important thing is not to allow that to throw you off kilter, right? Again, we're looking for the balance. There's always going to be things within us that create imbalances, but the key is to try to stay somewhat flowing in that center, right? Somewhat flowing um, within love, within understanding, and having grace, having lots and lots of grace and compassion. Oh my goodness, compassion. We need so much more compassion in this world. I mean, especially in New York. I mean, in New York, I mean, if you travel anywhere else, even down south and stuff like that, the pace of life and of living is just different. And we need more compassion and patience and understanding for one another. And I'm not saying allow people to run over you and walk over you, but for sure we need more patience, and we need to be willing to be like, hey, are you okay? How are you doing today? Spread love, spread kindness. And I do see so much of it. And that's one thing I know a lot of people, because there's a lot going on in the world. A lot of people say, like, oh, this world that we live in. But you know what? I see a lot of love and I see a lot of light in this world. And, I'm just going to keep on adding to that. Mm, oh my goodness. All right. I think we've touched on a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot.
Yes,
I'm gonna go
I'm trying
ahead.
to see if we have more comments because there's definitely been like a lot of hearts and
Okay,
likes
okay.
on Facebook and on Instagram. I'm just trying to see if we have any comments here. And
Okay.
while I'm doing that, would you like to talk about your products and about Modern Blessings and how that came about?
Yes. So, Modern Blessings was actually started because of my love of crystals. I started it back in 2016. And like I said, I love all things high vibrational and healing. And when I started learning different healing modalities, um, I combined that with the knowledge of my intuitive skills, and that's how I do my energy work. But um, one of my favorite things to do within my business is that I create these crystal grids. It's a form of art that I do, and it's very much intentional and programmed. Each grid that I create is for a specific intention. And so that's one of my favorite things to do. And that's how Modern Blessings was actually birthed. And I started to add to that with, having different forms of crystals. Obviously, everyone loves crystals. I know I'm a lover of crystals. And I started then adding different forms of tools, different spiritual, metaphysical tools, things that people use to cleanse themselves. I create spiritual baths. That is another thing that I actually wanted to touch on. Spiritual baths for me are very important. And I hold them very, very sacred because when we're taking something like herbs, things from the earth, and we are placing intention with those things and using prayer over ourselves, and we're bathing ourselves with the water and these herbs, we're introducing that beautiful vibration from all those different herbs from the earth, and we're cleansing our aura, cleansing these things that we carry, sometimes these dense energies, and it really helps to uplift our vibration, right? I mean, even just going outside and putting your 2 feet on the earth will completely shift your energy with a bad day, right? So all these things, when I find that um, pretty much I recommend all my clients to take spiritual baths before they come to me, or if they're experiencing like just a hard time, lots of confusion, just things not going their way. We can accumulate these energies. And so spiritual baths are one of the things that I do create, and I do have. I have a 3-day bath that I do create. It's called Baño Blanco. It's a wonderful tool to really uplift and cleanse the aura. I also have something called a goddess spiritual bath. that just helps just kind of like caress and uplift you, and lots of loving vibrations with that. Again, you know, we have so many tools around us, and a lot of people say you don't have to purchase my spiritual baths. You can go and create them, do your research, or just use your your intuition with how things feel. Very important. I can't recommend that enough. But these are one of the things that I offer. Um, Different things like incense. Incense is another important thing that I use. I find that smoke helps to really cleanse your space. However, if you do not have these things around you, you can use things like very simple, like clapping, bells, things like that to help clear your space. I don't, yes, I have a business. This is how I make a living. But at the same time, I'm here to be of service and help, and so I provide this information for people because it's important. I'm here to help. I'm not here to hinder anyone or say you have to purchase this or you have to purchase that. It's important to understand that I have these things because I create them with love. I create them with the idea and intention to be of service. And so, yes, I have lots of different things available. I do sell a lot in person. I did have an actual location that I closed down. So I do a lot of pop-ups and things like that. And I do have a private group in Facebook that I also have different services available and things like that. I do readings as well. That's a really um, fun thing to do. It's not just fun, obviously. I hold it sacred as well. Readings are extremely sacred to me, but I just think it's a fun tool to use, and I think everyone should use it if it resonates with you. It's a very lovely way to get in tune and get guidance, and not just look at cards and say, oh, that's my message, but ask questions. This is why it's, do the work, journal on things, very important. I also, I have different types of services. Like I also do coaching. I also host retreats. I also create crystal jewelry. So, you can like and follow me. I'm on Instagram, on Facebook, and like I said, I also have a private Facebook group. If you'd like to join that. I do have an Etsy. I don't list a lot of products on Etsy, but I will be doing that. It's something that I have been, my guides, my guidance, my intuition has been telling me to move forward with, and I'm listening. I'm going to start adding more and more products on there. So that is available. And yeah, that is, I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything else that anyone else would like to know? Any questions?
I don't see any questions, just a lot of likes and hearts.
Okay. Wonderful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on. This has been so lovely.
Where you have a website, or where can people find you?
I do. I do. My website is modernblessings.com. And from there, it'll tell you like the different services I offer. And then it also links Etsy if people want to find me there. You can find me on Instagram at Modern Blessings. Same thing for Facebook at Modern Blessings. So yeah, I'm available. And if anyone has any questions, they can always shoot me a DM or a private message. I'm available to answer any questions or anything as far as services goes or products. I also do little private shopping as well. And I also love hosting meditations or for groups in the local area. So if, someone has like a group of 4 or 5 friends and they want to do a crystal sale or they want to do a meditation and healing, I do offer those services as well. I find that when you do something like with a close-knit, um, you know, group of friends and family, I think great healing happens from that. Absolutely. I love doing healing circles. It's actually a passion of mine. So, yeah, getting people one on one and being in a room with people, the vibration, and when you have the intention to heal, oh, it's absolutely amazing.
Okay, and you're in the New York area. That's always a question that, people
Yeah,
like to
I
ask
am
me.
in the New York area, Westchester. Yes, Westchester, New York.
Okay, for me, that's kind of just right up the road. So, okay. And
Beautiful. Thank
so,
you again for having me, and it was so lovely meeting you.
absolutely. And where do you know where your next pop-up will be?
I'm actually doing a pop-up, but it's for Pepsi and it's a private corporate event. But when as I do any form of pop-ups, I will be listing them on Instagram. Yeah, I'll be listing on Instagram, and anytime I do any sales, I'm also going to be listing them as well. So, but if there's anything in particular anyone's looking for, shoot me a message. I can always you can always pick up, or I can ship things out. So anytime.
Yes, I'll definitely call you to get the Black Obama. Um,
Sounds
I,
good.
I I know the time when I saw you, it was like, okay, the train is coming. I really can't, but I
I
get to
know
get
you
your
were in and out.
information. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was like, let me just like grab these and go. Well, thank you very much. I'm so glad that we were able to make this happen. I really, really appreciate it, and I thank everyone for watching. And let me just say my commercial for Saturday, April 13th, in the Bronx at the East Bronx Academy. It's our Know Your Worth 2024 event. I am not my past. So you can follow me on my Instagram, on my Facebook. We are super excited because we have breast cancer warrior Miss Tia, who's going to be our keynote speaker. We have Miss Georgina Jean, who's a spectacular Bronx entrepreneur. We have Miss PJ, who is a publisher and an author. We have Miss Femi Bandelli, all the way from Connecticut, who will be speaking on abundance and gratitude. And we have more to announce. We have more brewing behind the scenes, and we'll be sharing that. But please save the date. You can see it right behind me, Saturday, April 13th, and it will be at the East Bronx Academy. And feel free to reach out to me for any questions about that. Miss Sandra, thank you so very much. Thank you for
Thank you,
sharing.
everyone.
Yes, thank you for sharing modern blessings with everyone, and we really appreciate you sharing your words this evening. So
Thank you so much.
thank you everyone who
Blessings.
was yes, yes. For everyone who is watching, thank you for watching this week's Transformation Thursday. Please tune in 7:15, 7:20. Just watch for the notifications. I'll eventually be on. And in closing, I'd always like to say, if no one has told you today, remember that you are a spark of the divine. Okay.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay. Thank you. Have a
Bye.
absolutely fantastic evening.
You too.
Okay, thank you. Take care.